in December this year. With him, it's a case of been there, seen that, done it. Of course, as you get older, your skills are supposed to deteriorate. But we saw at the European Championship, 53-year-old Ralph Suke winning the 8-ball title there. Maybe Immonen has got one more big title in him.
Francesco, it's your choice.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He was the winner of the Derby City Classic 9-ball back in January. And last year, he won 2 Euro Tour events in Slovenia and Turkey. I think he's a more dangerous opponent now than he's ever been.
Yeah, he's going to run the cue ball 2 rails behind the 6 here, trying to double bank the 1 to the bottom rail. Didn't quite get the 1, I don't think, where he wanted, but decent. Difficult kick shot anytime the ball's out in the middle of the table. You really got to find a good path, and he's got to slow kick this to get the English to take. Yeah, that's the problem with that. If you hit it firm on the slick table, the second rail doesn't take the side spin as much, and you miss a lot of kick shots.
And start the clock.
And now this is just the kind of opportunity you want to bet into a match, ball in hand. The ball's nicely spread. Get that cue arm lubricated.
Yeah, and really 4 easy starters here on the 1. The 2 leads to the 3. He'll just go forward a hair. That way he can follow down for the 4. Ruiz, of course, it always tells you how difficult it is to get those big wins. Still searching for that huge win. Of course, that Derby City Classic 9-ball, it's a pretty big win in itself. Yeah, I was going to say, he flirted with the 6-ball here, and I don't know if he can pocket this 4 or not. He may have to really cheat the pocket and maybe even a touch of inside English to try and throw the 4 back towards the pocket a bit. We could get at it. And that's one thing about Ruiz. You rarely ever see him where he doesn't look loose. I think that's a great sign for these big events. And it's a big bonus. Caught that a little heavy to the pocket, so it cost him a little bit of movement on the cue ball. And now he's gotten a little funny. He's got to kind of slow roll this a little bit. You don't mind taking a little angle on the 7. That way you don't sacrifice much on the 6.
He is one of those players, FSR, who doesn't walk around the table, he bustles around the table, always full of vim, vigour and enthusiasm. He loves playing pool, he loves doing well, and he will thoroughly enjoy the way the opening rack went. So it's the last match of the afternoon, the last match of the round. A race to 7 as always. Immonen missed the hook and FSR did the rest. Now so far we've seen some varying matches. Ko Ping-yi coming through against his younger brother Ko Ping-chung, 7-4. Eklund Kachi was beaten by Denis Akolio, and our latest winner is Abdullah Al-Yusuf.
Yeah, and I'm with him now for Abdullah. Many congratulations, a fantastic win against Niels. How happy are you after that?
Thank you. I'm really so happy. Niels is a great player. He's a great person. I respect him. I watch him since a lot of years, and really I feel good. I'm excited to continue in the tournament.
And you've made a great impression on the Matchroom 9-ball series. You had a fantastic World Championship, and you're continuing your great form here.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity and the invitation. Matchroom, they are doing a big hard work here, so we are thankful, and thank you for everybody make this one happen.
Abdullah, we love having you here. Many congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
What a gentleman, and a really good performance as well to overcome a giant of the game like Neil Svein.
That's right.
Thank you. It's 2
Kind of a
seconds right.
soft-spoken and always Al-Yusuf, but brings a big game. And another guy that brings a lot of game here, Ruiz, to break in game number 2. He usually won't back off the break much either. Nine ball moving cross side a bit. Doesn't really have the greatest offensive shot on the 2, but pretty handy and a couple different safety options. Now he can place the cue ball behind the 9, moving the 2 across. I may edge the 2 and put the 2 underneath the 9 and the 4 and try and come a couple rails behind the 8. May just come straight across the table using just the 4 and 9. He's really would like to try and play the cue ball behind the 8, but you don't want to play a dangerous safety that could get away from you.
Extension, please.
Yeah, it looked like to me he could edge the 2, even maybe with some right English, and just come straight across the table. That's a good view there. Maybe that's hard to do, but you can definitely contain the 2 or the cue ball behind the 9. Trying to get behind that 8 ball.
He's always been full of ability. I think over the last couple of years he's just found that added something, a new mojo if you like. And I think he's a lot more daunting to play now than he was a couple of seasons back.
Well, you talk about ability, though. This guy here, of course, all his titles will tell you what his ability is about. But if you ever got to see him play in his real prime, he's one of the few that I've ever seen to really just kind of dominate tournaments. He did it in his first World 9-ball championship, his U.S. Open titles. A little bit off-angle shot here to get across for the 3. And he's overcut that. Kind of one-stroked it, to be honest with you, and maybe fluked the 9. Okay, so this 2 should go in off the 9 and the side. We'll see where the 9 ends up.
Such a good potter, Sanchez Ruiz. I'm surprised that one missed the target.
Oh, look at that. I thought he had a more open pocket in the side than maybe it was a little closed off by the 9, but how pure did he hit that 2 ball? Maybe a 6-9 looming. Another one of those players trying to get back to their form. Putting a lot of time, playing a lot of events the last few years.
Extension, please.
He's gotten a little on the wrong side, trying to play the 6 to get shape on the 7, so it should be the 6-9 to end game 2.
Mika Immonen wins second break.
Let me tell you something about Mika Immonen. Jeremy Jones is quite correct. His career record is absolutely terrific. He's got so many accolades, so much won.
Player of the decade in the 2000s.
And before this match, we got Mika's assessment of this event and where he lies in the Gower pool right now.
Yeah, it's obviously great to be, even though it was a late invite, but somebody dropped out, and I'm just happy to be here. It's a great lineup. It's going to be a good challenge. Masters is funny because I got a little bit of a jinx, and I have to like get that monkey off my back. I haven't won it yet. I've been in the finals once, third once, but never won it. So it'd be nice to get that title. I feel like my form is getting there. You know, I've been finishing high in some events, and I'm obviously high in the rankings. That's why I'm here, and it'd be nice to break through and get a win. I love Gibraltar. It's amazing weather. The people are very nice. Food is excellent. I guess there's a lot to see. Francisco Ruiz, he's been playing great, phenomenal player. He's very strong, mentally strong. I'm an experienced player, so I'll try to outmaneuver him.
Thank you, Eddie. Third rec. We all square the one rec each. Mika Immonen to break.
Quite funny that Mika Immonen using the phrase trying to get a monkey off his back. What better place to do that than Gibraltar, a place that's famous for monkeys at the top of that massive rock.
Yeah, I hope I get a chance to say something to those monkeys. But it's interesting to me that, you know, in his heyday, you know, maneuvering, as he said it in an interview there, outmaneuvering his younger opponent, that wasn't ever much of a consideration for Mika. He would make a mistake on the maneuvering side of things, but then he would back it up running several racks when he got back to the table. So age will change a player a bit.
He was mentioning the fact he never won the World Masters but came close. That was in 2008 in Las Vegas, lost out to Alex Pagulayan 8-6, and the big turning point in that match, I recall, was a really unfortunate illegal break.
Okay, a swerve shot, which is a little harder to predict on the slick table. When I hit that sweep. And Mika's always excelled at the swerve shot. It's not something that comes up every game for sure, but when it does come up, it's good to have the tools. Okay, and this is another one he used to really excel at, having to roll a ball in the side pocket like here. He's overcut it just a skosh.
At the risk of repetition, I will say this time and time again over the next few days, these centre pockets give you nothing. They are unforgiving in the extreme.
Yeah, we usually just say they're brutal, right? That's the word in pool we use a lot. Double bank here. He's got to get the snooker, though, an open 2-ball. He may get fortunate, and he did. So we should see the Iceman going to the air here. And that was overhit a bit. You know, the one thing you want if you don't get the snooker is to put your opponent froze on the back rail. And without that collision he had, cue ball would have been up off the end rail quite a bit. interesting little shot here. He's got to come across. He may bump the
Extension.
brown, but I don't like putting a lot of speed on this shot at all. There is a path between the 7 and 3, but I like kind of easing this ball in. He's going to get below the 3, and he's going to be just fine. What a confident player, right, Phil?
Yeah, and I think he's more confident now than he's ever been. And it's such an invaluable asset. It's intangible. But it makes an enormous difference to a player's success rate.
Yeah, any sport, but especially the stationary sports, right? Confidence is probably 75% of the game, especially at this level.
Yes, if you've got a certain quota of skill, which all of these guys have, and you add confidence into the mix, then you are dangerous.
They've overran the cue ball touch there. This could get very, very touchy with the 8 ball being there. Looks like he may have to go into a piece of the 8 if he goes forward with the cue ball. Not a whole lot of angle to really stun the cue ball or draw it a couple rails either, so we'll see how he addresses the cue ball. He's going forward. Well, he got by it. Now he needs it to slow down. Oh, man. He expected contact on the 8 there, Phil. He may have to play a rail first shot here to get over. Showing off the power. Yeah, this shot is a little tricky because to get past the side, you have to put a little into the cue ball off of a thin shot. So easy to overrun. He may go back and forth here and play the 9 in the lower left.
Awkwardly tucked into the side cushion, just an element of doubt. But that was a no-doubter in terms of the 9 ball. A really good rack run by Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who takes an early 2-1 lead, including Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, who's 2-1 ahead, hoping for more as he breaks off in rack 4. Well, Jeremy, you didn't hold back on that one.
No, he rarely does, actually. There's a few of them. Albin is the same a lot of times. Niels very rarely backs off much. And, of course, SVB, nobody hits him better when they're unloading. He's looking to see if he can squeeze the 2 by the 9. It looks pretty touchy to me. And really, he'd like to shoot at the kiss shot on the 9 coming off the 2 to try and pocket the 9. But he wants a safety involved in that as well. Doesn't want to just openly go for that.
Extension, please.
You can see from that camera angle, at that angle, you can use the rail a little bit, but it's a little harder to aim because it's just not something you're used to doing, trying to use the rail so much, especially when you're cutting the ball. If you're facing it a little more head on, a little easier to figure out where to hit it if you're going to use the rail a bit. But and the reason why he's really considering this, not a very easy safety at all. looks like he's going for the kiss shot. And that was always tough.
Well, the only consolation here, at least he's left the cue ball close to the side cushion, and we know about the difficulty of potting to the middle bags.
Yeah, it looks like the 6 makes it pretty hard to miss, though. I mean, you're not wanting to use the 6 here, but really the only way to miss it is shoot it into the right point, just like he did, actually. And sometimes Mika does that. He gets down and really doesn't take as many pre-strokes. You know, he kind of one-strokes certain shots, and, you know, he still rarely misses, but it seems like that's the common denominator in some of his misses. A 2-ball on the side, I believe it was the second game, maybe, that he also missed, kind of one-stroked it a little bit. He definitely wanted to pocket the 2, now in a jam.
So often you see this where cue ball and object ball are so close together and you're cutting back into a blind centre pocket. So often you see a player undercut, and that's what he did.
Yeah, I don't know if he has a piece of this at all. No, he doesn't. That's a great camera view there, and trying to create some luck. And he's gotten the 2 to the back cushion, so he's got to be happy. And the kiss shot on the 7, very difficult to judge, not only being so far away, but anytime the 2's near the rail right there, you could easily catch a double kiss. If you try to avoid the double kiss, you hit the 2 too thin and don't make the 7. Oh, he hit it great. It's going to like this. Hard to say if he got too much draw on that or not enough. Definitely didn't want to contact the 6. Oh, that's going to run. He may need it to run more.
That was not an appetizing shot, but it was really well played. So there it is, 2-2. Keenly contested this match. Mika Immonen back on level terms. You know, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is one of the brightest personalities on the pool tour. And we know what he was doing when he spoke to us earlier, because he always does the same thing. He smiles.
Yeah, I'm really excited to stay here again. It's one of the biggest tournaments in the world. It's really special, especially here in Gibraltar, because it's really close to Spain. Too many fans come, so it's gonna be fun. The last year was so good for me. I won 2 Euro Tour. I play so confident, so this year I'm really focused. Mika is a good player. He's like a legend in pool, but now he's in form. He's playing really good, so I have to play my best. It's like a dream, especially all the matchroom event is like a dream, but the Master is a special tournament. Of course, I want to win, but I prefer to stay focused round by round, so I stay focused in the first round.
Yeah, I think he was right to describe Mika Immonen as a legend in the game. When you think in 2001, Immonen won the World 9-Ball Championship in Cardiff, Wales, and then that same year, he was runner-up in the US Open to Corey Jewell. That would have been some double. US Open and World Championship in the same calendar year, Jeremy.
Yeah, and it was just an unstoppable Corey Jewell in that final. We all know what the score in that match was, and you'll never see that again. It was an 11-0 clip. And, but then he went on to do something that not many have done. Won back-to-back U.S. Open titles and did it 2 different ways. Went undefeated the first year. The second year he lost his first match to Chris Bartram, if I remember correctly, another fine player from the Ohio area. Lost that match hill, if I remember correctly, and went through the one-loss side to capture his second U.S. Open title. So could have 3 if it wasn't for Corey.
Yeah, that second US Open was a triumph, not just of skill, but of stamina. You're quite right. Basically, came through the one-loss side of the draw, and he won 14 matches.
Yeah, that's
14.
Yeah, that's what you have to do in a 256 when you lose your first. It's 14 in a row. Been fortunate enough to do that a couple times. It wasn't ever a U.S. Open, though, and this man here. And I was there in Cardiff when he won his World 9-Ball title in 2001. And it was another one of those tournaments he just dominated. I mean, of course, he had a few close matches, but it seemed like to me there weren't many close at all. He always played well in the Moscone Cup also.
Yes, his appearances for Europe well into double digits in the Moscone Cup, and on one occasion he was voted MVP. 2008 that was.
Yeah, that was in Malta.
Mika Immonen wins the race.
And even now, 14 years later, he's showing that the Finn remains formidable. Delighted to get a late call up here, the Iceman. There's that notable performance, the world champion in 2001. As I said before, he will bring up his half century in December. You've got to be 40 to be in the BCA Hall of Fame. He was elected into the Hall of Fame at the age of 41, again underlining his status within the sport.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's still many players, and I was actually talking to Niels Fayen about that. I asked him his age because I was thinking, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? I'm sure it's going to happen one day for Niels. But, I mean, he is missing a U.S. Open title, but I mean, it's hard to win. It can't everyone win them, right?
Well, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, he is a former European 9-ball champion in 2016, overcame Joshua Filler in the final, and he was World Junior 9-ball champion in 2010. Current 9-ball ranking, that's pretty impressive, number 11.
Thank you, rack 6. Mika Immonen is leading the match 3-2 and will break.
Man, in Q Sports, it's been an amazing year with Shane winning the World Pool Championships. We saw what Ronnie did just this past week on the snooker side of things. But, you know, sport brings up some great occasions, and what Mika talked about earlier, this is a title that has eluded him. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets in gear here this week and takes it down. Of course, he's got to start here beating a very tough Spaniard.
Stop the clock fast, please.
Thanks. We've got a little bit of feedback in the auditorium. So Marcel Eckert, the referee from Germany, quite rightly asking for the clock to be stopped. Thankfully, the noise has abated.
Yeah, you can be as great as you want to be, but you can't predict everything. He's got to make a nice shot here with the draw stroke coming 2 rails. Oh, he's hit it perfect. Besides getting straight in on the 3, maybe. But The 4's over the pocket, so no problem. Okay, he's got to make a decision here. Does he lay up for the side pocket on the 5 ball, or does he come above it? Really can't argue either. The 6 does have both corners, so he can fall below the 8 for the 6 in the lower right. Of course, another one of those side pocket shots, so you have to be pretty perfect. I remember playing Mika in Malta in the singles match in the Mosconi and in his MVP run, and of course Europe winning that event. But man, he played well. The entire team did, though, for Europe.
In our previous match, we saw one of the giants of European pool, Niels Feijen, fall at his opening hurdle. And Mika Immonen looks like he might not do that. He's looking good. He leads Francisco Sanchez Ruiz 4-2. That is David Al-Qaedi, twice winner of the World Pool Masters, and of course a firm friend of Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Not just a friend, a teammate. FSR and Al-Qaedi team up on a regular basis for Spain in the World Cup of Pool, which is coming your way, by the way, from Brentwood in Essex in England in mid-June.
Yeah, that's more of the break shot I think these players are wanting. Watch the 1 track around the table. With the corner ball going, I like the players that are trying, that are breaking and not making the 1. I mean, we saw Fortunski make the 1 quite a few times, but put a lot of racks together, getting shots. I think I simplify this. I don't go crazy on this first 1 ball. He's going to have to kill the cue ball nicely here. You can do it with inside or outside. I think on the slick table, I like outside English, which would be left, trying to throw the ball in.
Tell you one thing, Jeremy, you could never accuse Immonen of being ponderous. He's a really quick player, isn't he?
Yeah, he always has been. Take a little more time on shots that he feels is needed, maybe making a decision, but really not taking much time when it comes to pulling the trigger. And that, when he played his best, though, that's kind of what he did. He just kind of ran players over at times. Super high gear, super great shot maker. Another one of those that when he rolled out, I passed a few knowing that I was just a big underdog to make it, but he proved me that to where I should have shot, I'll tell you that. All right, that one slid a little bit, so he's going to get a little steeper on the 8 than he wanted, but should be okay. Yeah.
Now, if you need a graphic illustration of the 4-inch pockets we've been repeatedly talking about, that shot was it. 4.5-inch, that goes.
Yeah, and it was hit up the rail a decent piece, you could see, but coming from the middle of the table, that's where the 4-inch pocket is really going to show up. The object ball's near the side rail, for these guys. They're going to pocket most balls, but from the middle of the table, they're missable.
It might not transpire this way, but that had the look of the quintessential turning point. Mika Immonen was 2 pots away from a 5-2 lead. But the 8 ball refused to drop, and Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is now just 1 behind Immonen's lead, reduced to 4-3.
Yeah, and breaking feel. Yeah, and I think this is what the players are talking about as far as they want the tighter pockets. When a ball's not hit like it's supposed to be, it's supposed to stand up. That's exactly what happened there in game number 7 on the 8 for Mika Immonen. Definitely see a pro Ruiz crowd. He got back on the board there.
So this is a really busy time for pool. We've talked about the World Cup of pool, the fact that Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is a regular. Mika Immonen is a former winner, alongside Petri Mäkinen for Finland. We've got the US Open coming up in Atlantic City, the big one, the Mosconi Cup in Las Vegas, and the European Open as well in Germany to come. And now we're concentrating on the massive invitation event that is the World Masters.
Thank you, the 8th break. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz is trailing 4-3 and blue break.
So Ruiz has made the one on the break in the side, each of his breaks. And that one caught the point. It's coming across near the cue ball. Excuse me, it's going to be a perfect angle to drop on the 2 and get Ruiz started here in game number 8. He's going to have to get nice shape on the 4 here later in the rack to get on the 5. That's about the extent of any tricky work. A lot of this sport in 9-ball is just maintaining, right? It's like a grind. You just got to keep pocketing balls. I'm not sure how close he can get to this 3, so the line of, oh my, huge mistake from nowhere, really. Tried to come one rail between the 4 and 9. Kind of one-stroked it, though. And a lot of times when you do that, your speed is off. And believe it or not, that's what caused the miss on the line in the cue ball. If he's a little smoother through impact, he gets in between the 4 and 9 and gets a shot on the 3.
Well, that was remarkable. He wanted no contact whatsoever on the 9. In the end, he got a full ball contact. A real blunder.
And now he's got to go the air with the jump cue. He doesn't have to. I mean, the guys these days, though, they're so good with the jump cue. It's hard to argue this play, but there are some nice ways to kick at this ball. All right, these shots, you have to aim a little thicker usually because the ball's in the air, so it cuts easy. See, the overcut is a very common miss with the jump cue. You're used to aiming a certain way on the ball, like a normal shot, but you have to understand when the ball's in the air, it's going to hit on top of the 3. So that always makes the ball cut easier.
Anything could have occurred there. As it is, the outcome for Sanchez Ruiz is more than acceptable.
Yeah, Mika's close to this, though. He should get the 3 below the 4 and be able to kill the cue ball up the table on the top rail. He may even come to the middle of the top rail, a little left of it even, maybe trying to use the 9 and the 4. Decent. A lot of times at this level, though, when you let them cue the ball nicely, they figure out a pretty good return safety in this type of situation. Not sure how easy this one is, though. I'm not sure really where he's going. Is he banking this? I think he is. Sweet shot.
Considering where he's from, Jeremy, I think we should have shouted "Ole" when that one went in.
I wouldn't doubt somebody in the crowd did.
think Immonen's thinking, oh dear.
Yeah, and the only thing he could have done, you know, that type of shot there, I think, you're always getting the 3 to the back rail. You just got to play the cue ball a little more on the top rail. You know, if Ruiz can't hit bottom English on that bank shot right there, it's probably not going to be able to shoot it. Gotten a little straight, so May with the 9 near may not move the cue ball much at all. Oh, he did draw it.
The way things are going, the closing match of this round could be the tightest match of the round. We've not had a hill decider yet. This is heading that way. Mika Immonen 4, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz 4, and rack 8 was all about, well, a little bit of luck for FSR, and then a really spectacular length of table back. In went the 3. After that, it was pretty simple. A quizzical look on the face of Mika Immonen. He's not one of those players who hides his feelings, Immonen, when he feels aggrieved about run or things going badly for him. You know about it. And when he was at his best, Jeremy, I'm sure you'll agree, he was fiercely intense.
Oh, very, very, yeah.
Thank you. The 9 Frank.
You could feel what he was trying to do to you, that's for sure.
Ruiz to break.
Played him many, many times. And when he was in his prime, you just had to take it away from Mika. That was just about how the only way, one of the only ways you're going to win. He's hit those square, but he's depending on a nice shot on a 2-ball, maybe a 3-ball, depending on what he makes. If he continues to make the one on the side, it's a little more gambling. I would have to entertain just taking a hair of speed off if I was Ruiz there, Phil. Looks to me he can bank the 2 back straight up the table and run the cue ball off the right side rail and then back behind that small wall balls, that being the 3, 5, 8, 9. Just straight top English. I don't know if the cue ball is going to get there. Kind of came up off the shot quickly and caught a lot more of the 2-ball than he wanted.
Technical. Yeah, just take it off. Just stop the clock for us, please. If it's bothering you, you can take it off.
I think Immonen's got a problem with his microphone.
Take it off, yeah?
So the referee's saying just take it off.
Just take the cable off. That's fine with you.
So Immonen is just about to be not wired for sound.
Yeah, well, like you said a moment ago, though, we can tell what he's thinking.
And
we don't have to hear it.
Thank you.
I must say, I always like watching a player who wears his heart on his sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can go. You can go buy a robot at the store, right? I was just going to say, and I didn't want to jinx him, that back in the day, that was pretty much a cold-blooded hanger for Mika. And I'd love to just see him commit, you know, to his little process, and a little more of the same each shot. It just seems like pre-strokes differ a little bit, maybe affecting the timing. He's played well, though. But he knows that he's got to bury those types of shots to win any matches in the Whirlpool Masters. And Ruiz has got to pay attention to the cue ball here. Now the 5 does go in both the lower pockets, so 7's over the side. Main thing here, stay off the rail with the cue ball.
Extension, please.
The pool pendulum swinging one way and then the other. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in front for the first time since 2-1. The scoreline now 5-4. The question here in Gibraltar, will Francisco Sanchez Ruiz pull away, or has Mika Immonen something left in the tank?
Awfully square hit on the rack, but a kiss on the cue ball. I don't know if he's got a cut on the 3 or not. Looks pretty thin from here. He's pocketed 3 on the break. You could hear him hit the holes. And this has gotten super thin here, so probably some type of soft safety, kind of just don't think it's natural to get behind the 9 so much, but maybe you just use the 7, maybe go on top of the 9 with the cue ball, putting the 3 on, you know, at the top rail there. Again, I don't know if you can really easily get behind the 9 without turning the 3 ball loose a little. So I think I'd go at the 9 with the cue ball. Just, yeah, see, if you. Well, he may get a kiss, but he's going to leave a little piece, and I wouldn't doubt the Iceman goes for this long rail bank. It appears the bank goes, maybe not. That's a better angle. I thought he had enough room, and that's what he's looking at now.
Extension, please.
He's got to kind of cut it and stiff the ball a little bit, so it'll have a little bit of speed if he does go for the bank. Otherwise, he may just have to try and leave Ruiz long somehow. Try and edge this ball, come up the left side of the table. He caught that ball. He fluked one in, though.
Shots like that, incidents like that, can make such a wholesale difference, especially when they're taken advantage of.
Yeah, that was a beauty there, and most players wouldn't have shot at that. They would have tried to get the cue ball by the 8 for a safety, but that was hit really well. With a lot of confidence, too. Didn't baby it, but didn't bang it. It's always a scary shot on the slick table. It can easily turn over on you and scratch in the upper corner. But speed pretty good, and we should have a tie ball game here shortly.
The inventive double from Mika Immonen made all the difference there. Yes, he had a little bit of fortune to be in that position, but nevertheless, the way he exploited that was excellent. It's now 5-5. This is going to be the closest match of the round. So that was the fluke, Jeremy, and then explain this bank.
Well, he could see he could stop the ball and hold position for the 6, so he liked his chances. That's more of a 9-ball player's bank, that cross corner, and he hit it. He hit it perfect. He's always been an offensive player. You know, that's, you know, all these guys are, but even more so for the Iceman.
And all these years of competing, and he still badly wants success. You saw the fist bump. He's up for this.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's put in the time. You know, there for a few years, he played some of the bigger events, of course, but a lot of players don't realize that not only to stay in form, but to not only improve your game and get back in form, the smaller events really add up. And, you know, Mika's not going to, you know, some little small events, but he's gone to a lot of regional events back in the States, spent a lot of time playing different disciplines, which I think is helping his game overall.
The 11th wreck. Mika Immonen to break 5 wrecks each.
And definitely knows he has a run, not only here in the Whirlpool Masters, but you saw where he had SVB on the ropes there in the Whirlpool Championships, and if that match goes his way, you never know. Well, 2's going to get up. I don't know if it's going to be shootable or not. I think it is. Maybe another bank shot. Looks awfully thin on the cut.
Well, Jeremy, you were talking there about the match against SVB at the World 9-Ball Championship. That was the elephant in the room, wasn't it? He was 10-3 up, and he lost the last 8 racks, and it was getting deep in that event. Must have been a heartbreaking loss, but he's trying to bounce back here. Has he been a little fortunate there?
I don't think so. This ball definitely plays up in the corner, and Ruiz, of course, has the power to draw the ball back. Doesn't need to come back too far. Maybe the middle diamond would be okay. And those cross-corner banks, you expect them to spread sometimes, but when it's not much of a cut, it seems like on the slick table it doesn't want to spread near like the players anticipate. It's the type of shot here. Stay heavy on it. You need a little nice draw. If you try to cut it a little bit, you could get on top of the 3. Yeah, nice shot. Well, this is falling funny. And the only reason this is really falling funny is because of where the 7's at. Doesn't want to get too thin on the 4, especially from 7 or 8 feet away. No, he can move the ball. It's a great camera view there. He can work it both backwards or forwards, really. Oh, look at the power this guy has. Really a little a la Mika Immonen there. Mika shoots a very similar shot in that situation.
Well, as you say, Jeremy, a great shot and a great camera angle as well to explain the power and the spin that enabled him to regain ideal position. And from here, he should be regaining the lead.
Yeah, and when we get the replay on that shot, and I'm sure we will, I want you to pay attention to the initial bounce of the cue ball, and then after that is when the draw really takes, and that's the art of the shot. Is create the angle with the power, right? The like ricochet effect off the 3, and then you'll see the draw really take place and start to arc the cue ball.
So there it is, the most eye-catching shot, arguably, of the session, has placed Francisco Sanchez Ruiz on the hill. He's back in front at 6-5, and this is the shot in question, Jeremy.
Watch it start to arc right there. You see it pick up speed, and that's really what makes it, gets that extra rail and that extra 3 or 4 feet for position on the 4. And that's a lot of timing, and you got to be comfortable. So we've had 4 lead changes in this match, I think, something like that.
Well,
pretty
Francisco
exciting in a
Sanchez
race to
Ruiz led
7.
1-0, then Immonen led 3-2. Sanchez Ruiz 5-4 ahead. He was pegged back and now 6-5 in front once more. And the big thing is, Jeremy, with this format, if you get to the hill, immediately you're breaking.
That's right. And I don't expect him to back off. For all you players out there, it's one thing we all have to experience is our last break. We tend to want to let up a little bit, fearing, oh, I don't want to scratch on my last break. But the key is to stay strong, continue what you've been doing. Ruiz, of course, in his prime, is still a young player, but a very, very smart, savvy vet, you could say. So he'll unload. Okay, we'll see what the 6-7 wants to do. This has gotten fairly ugly on the right side of rail. And also ugly because the 2's a little covered up. Even if he could cut the 1 in, I don't think he can get movement on the cue ball. So unless he really wants to rip at this and try and open some balls up and create some movement, I think he's got to come off the top side of the 1 and maybe play a safety up behind the 2 and the 5. He can't really roll out, I don't think. I think he's going to take a swing at this. I don't think he's measuring the safety at all. Got to put some speed into this, so I know it's near the pocket, but it actually becomes a, you know, I'd say it's not missable at all for this guy, maybe 2%, but since the speed's going to be added, maybe it goes up to 10% maybe. I'd reconsider this. You know, the 6-7 is really not the worst thing in the world for you, but if you make the 1 and open the 6-7 and snooker yourself, you might get your last turn at the table with a kick shot on the 2. Oh, he got a nice double kiss.
It's a 30-second shot clock, and you've got 1 30-second extension per rack. And Francisco Sanchez Ruiz had so much thinking time there, had to contemplate what to do. He took his extension immediately.
I wonder if he contacts the 7-9 here. Oh, he put out a bunch of throw on that ball. I thought he may just address it with a high ball, but decided to try and spin it in, and unfortunately missed it for the Spaniard.
Immonen at the point, of course, where his next mistake should be his last mistake.
Yeah, I don't know. He caught that much thinner than he wanted. Kind of waving his hand to the air like maybe the table didn't roll true there, but he's trying to bank the 2 up the side rail. I love that decision there, just simply trying to get the run started without making any big errors. It's not as close to the 4 as some would have liked, but still very doable. Well, that's a pretty hot cue ball there. It's okay. The 7 looks like it doesn't play in the side, maybe, but it definitely plays in the upper left. The side would be a little easier.
Always nervy at this juncture when a player is so close to victory.
Yeah, well, that position there tells you it does play in the side. The side pockets here haven't been friendly, but he can cue the ball nicely, so shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, you would say that 8-ball Mika missed a turning point in this match?
Yeah, I would agree with that. He was 4-2 ahead. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz looked in. A spot of bother, but not anymore. He loved that. The result, the performance, the way it was finished off. He's a possible Mosconi Cup contender for Europe this year, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He's won the Derby City Classic 9-ball in 2022, and now he's overcome a European pool giant in Mika Immonen by 7 racks to 5. The first round of this World Pool Masters is complete, and we have 2 Spaniards in the last 16. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has earned his place there. David Alcady, who was one of the first to congratulate him, well, he is seeded into the last 16. These are the match stats. I thought at times Immonen played some very nice pool. He pulled off some wonderfully inventive, innovative shots. But, as Jeremy so rightly said, the missed 8-ball in the 7th rack really did prove expensive. So that's the completion of this session. It started with Ko Ping-yi beating his brother Ko Ping-chung 7-4. Denis Okolio was 4-0 down against Eklund Kachi, won 7-4 as well. Abdullah Al-Yusuf of Kuwait overcame Neil Svayan 7-2. And finally, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz also takes his place in the sweet last 16.